You're listening to No Plot, Only Lore, a podcast about games and the tables we play them at. Your DMs tonight and every night are Josh and Chris. You can find us on all podcast platforms or check us out at noplotonlylore.com. If you like what you hear today, please rate and review the show and share it with everyone you've ever met. Welcome back to No Plot, Only Lore, the game where I like to play by myself.
I was 100% going to do brought to you by Terraforming Mars.
Please, Fricks Games, reach out. I will take any sponsorship. I just want a copy of the dice version for myself.
I'd like money.
Oh, we're not at that level yet.
We are not. This podcast is so expensive.
So speaking of playing with yourself, we want to talk about board games more, because that
is not the segue I was thinking it was going to be.
Yeah, Christopher has unlocked the only way to get me fully locked in and engaged for an entire half an hour is to talk about things that I like.
I mean, you get so few opportunities.
I do.
I have all of this weird, pretentious role-playing game media shit that I want to dissect, and every once in a while, I got to throw you a bone, man.
Well, yeah, I joined this podcast under the pretense of I play Dungeons and Dragons once in a while, and I can talk to my buddy once a week for an hour about it. Sure, whatever. And then he started getting all highfalutin about it. I'm like, I just want to kill a kobold. I don't know what's the complication here. But yeah, board games are something I get complicated about because those are the best ones.
And it's a thing about which I am not complicated, so I think it's an interesting table of the turning.
Sure. So you floated this idea of talking about solo board games.
Yeah, not a thing I've done. I have not played a solo board game. I've played games that can be played solo with people.
Sure.
So a couple of card games. I think the Lord of the Rings card game was one where you could play it solo if you wanted to. I only ever played it with people. There was a D&D board game that you could play solo as well. Mm-hmm. Never did. So I've never really understood the draw for solo board games, mostly because when I'm playing games, I'm trying to be social.
Yeah. Okay. So solo board games are having there's two types of games that are having a real push in the industry right now. There's what are called dual board games after the first one that came out, the Seven Wonders Duel, where they take an existing game and they redesign it around playing with only two people. And then the other thing that they do is now everyone has a solo mode. And I feel like this has mostly come about for two reasons. One has to do with one of my favorite designers, the folks over at Stonemaier Games, who put out the Automa rules for first starting with Scythe, and then now every one of their games has them, designed by Automa Factory. And everyone else has started paying attention to solo-specific rules. And I think a big part of that, the second reason that they're having this resurgence, was the impact of, frankly, COVID-19 on the whole industry.
I had read something about that where because game night got disrupted real bad.
Yes.
Right? It kind of didn't depend on what kind of game you liked to play. If you got together with your friends in 2020, you stopped doing that.
Yeah. So after 2020, there's a few things that really changed because what game night could not happen for quite a while. So there's a few things that popped up in that void. One was a surge of activity towards online implementation, mostly through Board Game Arena. The second was a push for very good two-player experiences for the people who are quarantined with their partner who is willing to tolerate a board game. And then the third was solo games for people who, like most nerds, are alone.
Right.
So
that also would have been me if I was playing board games during.
Yeah. There's never been a better time to be a solo board gamer. In fact, there are some games that have been designed specifically to be a solo board game, but a lot of them just find a way to mimic the presence of another person through denial of actions and adjustment of resources and things like that.
Well, one of the things that I was looking at, and one of the things that kind of prompted this idea for me was somebody was complaining about how on Kickstarter you basically have to have a solo mode now.
Right.
Like if you want to be a successful Kickstarter on a board game, you have to be able to play this game by yourself.
Yeah.
Do you concur with that?
I mean, what does concur really mean? No, I will say there's two things that it feels like are mandatory for kickstarting games right now are lots of plastic to look pretty and a robust solo version.
Okay. So get yourself a 3D printer and make sure that you can play it by your lonesome.
Yeah. That being said, I really don't like solo games a lot of the time.
Okay.
So
that surprises me.
Well, let me tell you why.
Okay.
So first of all, solo board games are, in general, even if the game mechanisms are the same, they wind up being the same thing every time, which is just essentially a version of Sudoku that you try to set your high score on.
Okay. Kind of like just solving a puzzle.
Yeah, and you're just solving the puzzle of how many points can I get. There's no competition. There's very minimal interaction. Even the versions that do mimic another player, there's not a lot of interaction. They are, to use a terrible descriptor, they are masturbatory fun.
And we got to the reason why I titled the episode the way I did. Okay, so the only solo game that I have a lot of experience with is the Lord of the Rings card game.
Sure.
And I feel like the randomness inherent in that game presents a variety of challenges.
Okay.
That may benefit those issues of you're just solving the puzzle. Because I don't know if you've played it, but
no.
Every time you set up the game, you are discovering a location or a bad guy or something that you have to figure out. And then you also have your cards that you've played to address those problems.
Right.
And those cards are drawn from decks, and there's a deck building element to it, I believe. It's been a long time since I played it.
Right.
But essentially, the randomness of those decks means that every time you play this game, there's going to be a unique set of challenges, and also that you will have different tools to address those challenges. Is that not true for the vast majority of solo games?
So solo games come in a variety of types. So you've got the game that I like in multiplayer is called Barrage. The way that solo game plays out is that you've got a stack of tiles that are going to randomize the behaviors of a phantom player. So the actions that they select that may block what I do. There's games like Under Falling Skies, which is essentially great title. It is Space Invaders, the board game. Quite literally, there are aliens coming at you from up in the skies. You roll a couple of dice and assign those dice to various actions to shoot at things or build up more energy to make upgrades, things like that. There's
dare you, game company? Okay, I'm about to segue real hard because how do you take a title that fucking poetic? That's beautiful.
Yeah. The game components were gorgeous too.
And then you build a game about aliens getting shot down out of the sky, I guess.
Yep. It's literally Space Invader.
I had such like I was imagining box art.
Yeah.
When you said that, and it was like chunks of the sky falling down around somebody's. I'm angry.
As well, you should be. It does have great box art, but it doesn't change the fact that there's not much there. And this is a game. No, I put it on the chat for you so you can look.
Thank you.
It has a campaign mode for.
Why?
I don't know, but it do.
The box art's all right, but it's definitely not as pretty as I was. Like I was imagining, like a beautiful like meadow.
Oh sure.
That you're like overlooking, and then you would have like the title "Under Falling Skies" in like gold across the top.
Yeah.
And then like actually, now that I'm thinking about it, having chickens. So you would have like chickens chilling in like the foreground, like looking up at the sky that is literally fucking falling.
Yeah.
I am upset.
So that's one version, and then there's actually something very similar to what you described, a game called Marvel Champions, where you have like a deck with your hero and a deck with the villain that you're trying to fight. And then the most popular sort of solo genre almost is what they call roll and writes, where you've got a pad with various areas or statistics or whatever, and you roll some dice to get some results and then to decide where to assign those results. It's kind of like a solo Yahtzee in a lot of ways.
Okay.
So that has become a very like significant portion of the industry is roll-on rights, who had a big blow up right after COVID.
The roll-on rights sound a bit like a genre of choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
That I remember, where like you had a character and you had dice and you would like read the book, and then like your rolls would determine which pages you were going to.
Oh, I see.
And I recall not liking even one of those.
Yeah, and that's I dislike roll and writes generally. I've tried. I've given them a fair shot. There's a cool little flip book I bought that it was this miniature thing where it actually it didn't have a die. They had what they called a P6, which is a black pencil with the numbers 1 through 6 on the top end of it. So you just roll the pencil across your table. And then you had a little grid dungeon that as you rolled your things, you would move your dude around on it and then progress to the next page.
You were playing that in the middle of conversations with me.
Was I?
I recall you describing this thing to me as you were doing it.
That might be
during conversations with me.
Yeah, it sucks. Maybe it's just how brutally unforgiving it could be at times, but like I tried to make it through, and what it felt like in the game was like you could make your way through it and like just set a high score, but it didn't really matter. And because you never like full on failed, it was just like whatever. But I tried the Catan roll and write, and again it's just like
Catan roll and write?
Yep, you roll for what resources you get.
Okay, because I was literally thinking, like, playing solo Settlers of Catan would be the worst fucking experience.
Oh, yeah. Again, it sucked. I gave it a good shot. I mean, whatever, I'm out $10 and I learned a lesson, but there is one I have been tempted to try called Nemo's War, which is based on Jules Verne's 40,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and you are... Yeah, you're Captain Ahab, and you're piloting the Nautilus around the world, going for various missions. But again, it's a game with like everything feels low stakes. If I'm not beating someone, I'm like, well, what am I doing here? Am I just checking out the fucking decorations? Like,
I mean, there are some games where that could be the point.
Yeah.
But I've never seen a solo version of it. Yeah, I think like maybe I was spoiled by this Lord of the Rings game.
Yeah.
Like again, I only ever played it with people. I've never played it on my own.
Yeah.
But the way that the challenge deck was put together was with the assumption that you were going to be playing with another person generally.
Sure.
And so I think maybe the balance of that and like the way that the challenges were put together and the way that you were meant to address them was built independent of that solo game option.
Sure.
Made it seem less bad. Right, like it wasn't just like you were playing against a like deck of cards that were similar to the cards that you were playing. Each challenge was kind of unique in the way that it was put together. So, a lot of this just sounds like toys.
Yeah.
To me.
In a lot of ways it is. Like, it just is.
My definition of game is very informed by like Mark Rosewater's essays on game design. And so like I recognize that there is game here. Right? Like you have choices, you have decisions, there is an element of randomness.
Yeah.
All of the necessary components for game. But there is something about the solo nature of it that feels very... I don't want to use the word again because I used it in our last episode a bunch, but it feels incomplete.
Right. So here's what I think is missing, and a way that I think a few games are trying to address that, which makes me interested in giving them a shot. These games, when you play them solo, it feels like you strip out the narrative arc of the session. You're just... there's no conflict, really. There's just what happened. Did the dice go a certain way, and where did you assign them? There's no, there's no antagonist. Like even in the games that have, a quasi AI that you're playing against, there's no person that you can taunt and torment, and everything they do just kind of happens and is not directed at you personally. So there's no, vindictiveness to it. It's just the cold machine. But there's two games in particular that I want to get to giving a shot to. So, there's a company that makes these games that, I wish I could remember the name of the publisher itself. I think it's something to do with a crow. But anyways, they publish a series of games called Above and Below, Near and Far, Here and There, I think it was the other one. Now and Then. But they come with a narrative...
It was an anime I watched.
They come with a narrative choose-your-own-adventure book that every time you have an encounter in the game, there's a little write-up, and then there's a decision to make based on your statistics, resources, abilities in the game. And then you get taken to a follow-up page for the answer. Those can be played solo. And there's a version called Sleeping Gods that I want to give a shot to. The other one that just came out last week is the newest Jamie Stegmaier design called Vantage. Now, the difference is Vantage from the start is designed as a cooperative exploration game. You are a team of space scientists who crash onto a planet, and you spend the game trying to explore the planet, find each other, and complete varying levels of objective to complete the game. You're not trying to win the game. You're trying to complete it as a group. In the same way that you're just trying to survive when you play Pandemic.
We're not a group. How does that work?
So it does have a solo mode with, again, a bunch of narrative stuff and a huge number of locations and geographies and discoverables to just explore as in a sandbox-like way. You've got 800 different interconnected locations, over 400 cards, with 900 other miscellaneous discoverable cards. To get through that by yourself would be, you'd have an infinite amount of fun. And weirdly, the game is played from a like quasi first person perspective, which I've never seen in a board game before.
So I'm wondering, okay, so that does sound cool, and I would be interested in exploring that later once you've had a chance to play it.
Yeah.
Like I'm wondering how much of the solo game experience benefits from randomness. Because like, especially in challenge, right? Like on the challenge side of the game,
right.
In order to be able to create unique experiences and to be able to have like a narrative encounter or like found narrative in your game, I feel like there needs to be an unpredictable element in the game. And in a lot of games that comes from other players, right? Like that player did something that was fucking crazy and everybody still talks about it weeks later about how great that turn was on that game. But you don't have that in a solo game. So I'm wondering how much like the random element of the game contributes to a good solo game.
And I think that's where like ultimately the satisfaction of the game itself kind of can hinge on, right? Like a roll and write has some of that input randomness that you're looking for there, where it's like I rolled the dice, this is what showed up.
Right.
A lot of these other games, their solo versions, like I guess the best case for randomness is just like you shuffled a deck of cards that tell you what the guy's gonna do. But like they also have a certain amount of predictability because you do need to be like, in the same way that I can kind of figure out how a friend plays, you do need to have like a little bit of agency in figuring out what the bot is going to do and how you can prevent that. Because if the bot just selects actions at random, it's not a very satisfying game, right?
Right. Well, I'm thinking about like the Stegmeyer game that you were just mentioning.
Vantage?
Having that many pieces.
Right.
Right, having that many options that are interconnected and have some randomness built into them. Creates the opportunity for exploration.
For sure.
And I'm wondering if maybe like the biggest issue that we're running into with solo games is that like maybe the randomness is like too random. Maybe it's just like that there isn't anything that's connecting these ideas together. Or maybe it isn't random enough where everything feels like it's just like lockstep with the way that you're expecting it to go. And I'm wondering like how to balance that in a way that's going to stay fresh and interesting without becoming too weird and like lol penguin random.
Yeah. Like, and I think that's why, first of all, I think you've kind of nailed what the difficulty is of making solo board games or solo versions of board games. Is that like, like I said before, with some of these games, you're just going through the motions and setting your own high score, right? And there's not any randomness is pretty easily mitigated. Like with, a roll and write, it's just like, oh, what's random is what value I get on the dice, and then I can make decisions and go from there. And so at a certain point, you're just going to be like, oh, this is the optimal decision. I'll just do that.
Have you ever cheated at a solo game?
Yes. It was that stupid little flip book.
Oh, okay.
I was just like, this is dumb. Because, like, you get wiped out of your cash right before, like, one of the few buying levels. If you don't buy anything, it's just like, well, this game is just going to be, like, a fucking kick in the dick. So I just told myself I didn't die on that floor.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know that I would have the, like, moral fortitude to just be like, nah, that roll didn't happen.
I mean, ultimately, I'm the boss of me and my own experience. If I want to, quote-unquote, cheapen it by just saying this is stupid and I'm not having fun, that's my prerogative, I think.
Okay, I think I can also say that I have cheated at a solo game, but that is only by the loosest possible definition of game.
Okay.
Because I was one of those people that would, like, hold my thumb on one page of a Choose Your Own Adventure.
Oh,
and then
buddy.
go and read
buddy.
that page, and then go back and check the other option.
I got like paper cuts on my membranes from holding open 5 different spots where I could have made a choice in a choose your own adventure. Okay, like
great. I wonder, like, okay, so with this many options, and maybe this is something that like could use more exploration in like a different episode, but like I feel like in some of these cases it would almost be enhanced by being online.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, not just in the sense of like moving the pieces around or whatever, but like the number of options that you could potentially add and like tweak and play around with.
Sure.
In an online offering seems like it would maybe be more conducive to solo play. But then we start to get into like the territory of like what is a board game versus what is a like video game.
Yeah. I mean, so I do play some like quasi solo digital implementations of board games by myself. You know, that's if I'm going to play a board game, that's how I do it, because it just says here's a couple of computer opponents and then play the game, like the actual game. So like I've done that with Terraforming Mars. I've done that with Through the Ages. I did it so much with Star Realms. I memorized the deck. Yeah, like I have. Okay, shameful confession. Star Realms used to be the game I played while I was driving. Like, to play a deck builder at 100 kilometers an hour is not a good look.
Also not a good idea.
Oh, I know.
For all of the 16-year-olds who are listening, who I know make up the vast majority of our audience.
Yeah, don't listen to me.
Yeah, I'm kidding. Our audience is entirely like white male and over 30.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like honestly, that's kind of like my favorite way to do solo games is just like, hey, make a digital implementation of it that you can just play our game without having to track down people.
Well, and also like doing the math for you, right? So that it's less of like a number crunching.
Yeah.
Machine, less of the Sudoku side of things.
Because that was what threw me off of the Barrage solo game. Is I love Barrage. It's a very well designed game, very tight, but the upkeep and the maintenance that I had to do for the AI player's turn sucked all of, because my decision making capability is pretty robust. I know what I'm going to do quickly, and then to have to my turn took a minute, and then the computer or the AI turn took like 5, like checking all the boxes, doing all the things, you know.
Well, that a little bit comes back to like my whole thing with Balatro.
Yeah,
like I play a weird amount of Balatro right now. And that game, I think, is only really feasible on a computer.
Sure.
Right? Like the number of multiplications that you're doing and like the things that you need to remember and like how many different triggers are happening.
Yeah.
If you were to try and do that in real life, a single game of Balatro could take a week.
Yeah.
And I think that like there are some games that really benefit from that type of like number crunching in the background. Like you and I have both played a fair bit of Hearthstone.
Yeah.
And there are some card designs in that game that are really only possible in a digital offering.
It is not possible to do any of the random things that they do in a physical offering. Like, there's cards that can pull literally anything from the entirety of your collection.
Yeah, or like cards that can pull things that you don't even have in your collection, right? Like
cards
that are completely randomized and like specific to that card. I'm remembering like a Minotaur that plays a guitar or something, and suddenly you have like a band member in your party.
ETC, yeah.
Sweet. So yeah, like I feel like maybe some solo games are just better played online, but then again, like Hearthstone is a video game.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the toughest design spaces to be in right now, is wanting to do something solo that feels unique, that feels like satisfying and rewarding, and isn't just, I could have done this as a video game better, you know? Like I really don't mind when the games give you the option for a solo play, but I feel like it's really just kind of like making lemonade, in a weird way.
Yeah.
Because board games are just not... There's so few designs that are like, hey, this is specifically meant to be a solo game, and when they do, they're just not awesome.
Yeah. Are there any genres or like types of games that you think are better suited to solo games? Like one of the notes that I have here is, if you're playing a hidden trader game by yourself, are you still paranoid?
Right. And hidden trader games just don't work with... as far as I can tell, there's no way to make it work with a solo game. But, I really don't think there's any that are like, boy howdy, this is really good solo. Because so much of what makes board games is the board state and reacting to that. And it's very hard to make a board state in a solo game that feels like engaging.
I wonder about sealed games. Like, I'm trying to think of like a mystery type game that you could play, kind of similar to do you remember when Risk put out like their campaign version?
Oh, you mean Risk Legacy that invented the legacy genre? Yes, I remember that.
Sure, that one. That fucking envelope.
Yeah.
In the bottom of the box.
Yes.
Right, like having a mystery element that can be revealed to the players. If you were to build an entire game around that concept and then play it solo, right, like having parts of the game revealed to you as you're playing it, I think that would be really interesting. It would have zero replayability. Yes,
it is a one and done. And to a certain extent, I feel like those exit board games kind of do that, but they are just an escape room in a box.
Right, and that's not necessarily a great direction for game design for board games, because we have escape rooms. And you can play them by yourself if you want to. Hey, thanks for making it all the way through this episode of No Plot, Only Lore. If you're looking for more, you can always find us at noplotonlylore.com and on all the very best podcast platforms. If you like what you heard today, please share, rate, and review the show to feed my never-ending need for attention and validation.